Say I'm by no means a crypto expert. I'm not going to give you a lecture on blockchain or meme coins or any of that. I don't know, and B, I don't care. But I do think it's worth looking at this crypto thing a little bit, only because it is a deeply, deeply old-fashioned, simple scam at this point, which points right to the White House. Cryptocurrencies operate on the same idea. They have no inherent value at all.
The president has made a decision with excellent advisors. They've talked about Ethereum being in. They've said Ethereum. They've said XRP. They've said Solana. They've said ADA Cardano. So it is what it is. And the big winner out of that is obviously Cardano, up 30-40% over the last week since this announcement, and Ethereum being the big loser, which with this announcement, shockingly down 10%.
The Senate voted to repeal a Biden-era rule that requires some cryptocurrency platforms to report their customers' transactions to the IRS. That's been repealed. They don't have to report to the IRS. I take it you would vigorously approve of that.
Well, I think the last administration was getting very onerous in terms of IRS expansion, reporting and otherwise, and I'm happy to see the country on track with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I don't think any of us want to see an IRS that is heavily expanded with even more reporting requirements than we already have.
Okay, let's move on to the first ever crypto summit. It's on Friday. It's in the White House. What do you want to hear?
Well, I think it's the moment when we look back in history where we have a bit of a preview, but that's the moment where I think we're going to look at that date, March 7th. 2025 is the day where we went from being in the shadows to acknowledged and recognized by the greatest government in the world, and with that, the rest of the world will follow. So
I see more and more imbalances, and the imbalances can create that type of inflation, and that would be the greatest risk to the U.S. too. By the way, I mean I'm highly bullish on the U.S. economy. Mm-hmm. If the Trump administration unlocks private capital, as they're talking about it, if they streamline permitting, hopefully Europe follows, please. Europe follows. The opportunities in the GCC are really fantastic. Mm-hmm. But the risks still remain that I could see elevated inflation that's not in everyone's viewfinder. And there is some probability, not 50%, but lower, that we could see the 10-year Treasury breaking 5%, which would disrupt a lot of things. So I'm not this euphoric optimist, but I'm pragmatically enthusiastic about where the world is, where we could go, the opportunity.
And the second problem we see is that in many countries, the recognition that we are facing a technological transformation that may not have a match in history, and then preparing for AI, embracing AI systematically, that is not quite yet there.
UN panel for AI advisory for the General Secretary, advising them on how we could shape a better future that is inclusive, innovative by AI. Pivoting to what the world right now is moving within the intelligent age, from generative AI to agentic AI and to physical AI. So within agentic AI, which is all about productivity and infusing that, we have Ghaida Tassan, who's collaborating with Aramco to make sure that we have one of the real use cases of how AI can deliver optimization, delivering $1 billion in optimization for Aramco. And last but not least, within physical AI, how Dr. Firas Khalil has leveraged robotics to tackle the shortage of heart surgeons, delivering the first heart transplant fully in robotics. So this is, in essence, an opportunity for us to leverage our capital, our patient capital, our captive market, our energy, and we spoke about this earlier, to really fuel a better future for humanity in collaboration with all of them. Purpose technology, it's like preventing societies from the steam engine and from electricity, which we cannot afford that. I mean, you cannot deprive, suffocate, or dehydrate these economies because you will cause irreversible damage. And this is why the kingdom is committed on closing down the 3 new divides of the AI age. a compute divide. We need 63 gigawatts worth of energy. This is equivalent to what India needs, the most populous nation. And energy leads to heat, leads to water, and we spoke about this earlier as well, as much energy and water that you need as well in the United States. We need to make sure that these algorithms address hallucination, disinformation, and all of these aspects. And we have Dr. Amr Awadallah and Dr. Ihsan al-Haq, who recently received the U.S. Presidential Award for early in career work on delivering algorithms that feed humanity to make sure that we deliver things. So I couldn't agree with you more. Today, in the digital age, we used to talk about the digital divide. In the AI divide, it's becoming a dignity divide, where we need like-minded nations, a coalition of thought leaders coming together and making sure that this general purpose technology has to proliferate to make sure that it's inclusive, innovative, and impactful.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Rachel saying crypto is a scam. And crypto has no value at all. And I'm playing you this clip because this was textbook Hegelian dialectic. And those who have no idea about crypto, indecisive about crypto, they're not going to touch crypto at all. But those who of us are in crypto, we know the utility behind crypto. We know the big corporations, big banks that are already using this technology. We know for a fact she's not telling the truth. And she's not going to give you all the big banks and all the big corporations that funded Bitcoin and crypto from the beginning. It's not going to happen. But again, her speech about crypto, like I stated, was textbook Hegelian dialectic. And guys, we know the Hegelian dialectic is undefeated. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And then we have the Mighty Ducks, Brock Pierce, on the Bitcoin Reserve Great for crypto, and Trump signing that executive order for crypto, and then plus the Crypto Summit is going to mark the turn of us moving into this digital economy. And I agree 100%. That's all we're going to see is more and more utility. It may not show up in the price just yet because it's time to build. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And then he also goes over the last administration attacking crypto. And again, it's nothing but the Hegelian dialectic. Trump is now pushing Bitcoin and crypto. But the key is why. And we know that why is for the fourth industrial revolution, where the robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And then we have Larry Fink bullish on the U.S. economy, but then says the 10-year yield can go over 5%. And the U.S. economy has a lot of headwinds. Trump has to cut this deficit, get us on a level playing field within 4 years. And that's the reason why it's going to be rocky. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. But the robots, algorithms, and drones are about to change everything that we do. And then also, when we listen to these overseas speeches, they're always talking about all this energy that's needed. And remember, they were attacking Bitcoin due to the energy, but this technology needs 10 times what Bitcoin needs. And that's the reason why they want the masses off these towers, off the energy grid, using satellites, and then also alternative energy, which we know is going to be spotty. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And then we keep hearing about these AI agents. And they're going to be entered into the workforce at a faster pace. But then also, guys, you have to make sure you look at terminology. We are seeing language change. And they're not being called AI agents for any reason, because they're pulling all this information from people. These AI agents are learning from humanity, so therefore eventually they replace humanity. And we see when it comes to jobs, the jobs that are going to be created are moving you away from the Most High's order. You're supposed to be growing your own food. You're supposed to be innovating. Now people are using AI to do the work. And if this persists generation over generation, eventually humanity goes back to the caveman. And then they talk about employees and owners. This is going to be the first generation that the people are working with AI or managing AI. But like I stated, you're working with AI now, but eventually AI is going to replace you where you're going to be working for that AI. And then they talk about job loss. And we know with these repetitive jobs, it's easy for the machines to come in and replace it. But that's the reason why they turned this economy. Remember, the United States was about a manufacturing economy. They moved the manufacturing economy out and brought the service economy in. And that's so much easier to replace with machines. And when you have a manufacturing economy, you get a whole lot of creators. Because if I'm manufacturing the iPhone, I'm getting to see how this iPhone is made. Then that allows me to either create my own phone or create a tool that makes the phone better. It automatically sparks ideas. Like the late great Prince stated, it's okay to use the technology, but don't allow the technology to use you. You saw the Matrix, and that's the reason why it's so important for you to understand the technology, so therefore you don't fall for the devil's tricks. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
$6 billion have been invested into cloud. Amazon, 5.3 billion, Microsoft 2.6, Google 1.5, the rest. For the AI age, we have received also other feedback in closed sessions here in Davos. It was myself, His Excellency Jadad, and Ibrahim. We were there. They were talking about the need for data sovereignty, and you talked about this earlier in your panel today. They were talking about data free flow. So right now we took some of our pieces of legislation, like the Personal Data Protection Act, like the Freedom of Information Act. We went back to the drawing board and we revamped these legislation. And as a result of that, we are in dialogues right now to take the 300 of megawatts we have built for the digital age all the way to a gigawatts plus, not only to serve the kingdom and to the region. And kudos to Alphabet for making the first bet, announcing it in last FII, of solving for what I call perspective versus perception. One thing that we don't do well is enough communication to appreciate that the kingdom is undergoing a huge transformation within a clear investment thesis. Oil-based economy, innovation-based economy. And there are three levers. You have low-end disruption. So naturally, you will see tourism and unlock 130 million tourists coming into place. Sustaining innovation, smart cities, quality of life, and new market disruption. And these moonshots, similar to the Apollo mission, to the other missions, we need to be patient, and it's multi-decade.
And I think we're living will be the biggest, tech revolution in the next, 20 to 30 years.
The biggest tech revolution. Okay, really interesting. Sarah, what's your take?
So as you hear from everyone, this is a very exciting time, and AI is everywhere. Agents are everywhere. And this is a great new age of collaboration that we're moving into, where humans are collaborating with agents. And July of last year at Lattice, we got ahead of this because this is also has very big societal implications for how we work together with AI agents in a way that we're putting the success of people as the primary. And so as agents enter the workforce, as the digital labor enters the workforce, the questions come about: how do we manage our agents? How do we interact with them? How do we keep ourselves transparent and accountable to the success of them? You may have an agent as a customer service representative. It could deflect a lot of cases, but are your customers still happy? We need to make sure that that happens. And we need to help humans work well together with agents. And this is what's most important, and we think an opportunity for leaders of people, because this is their north, is the success of people. And so this is very important for us with agents to also think about how we prioritize the success of people with them in our workforce.
It's a really interesting time, right? We as CEOs are going to be the first generation that manages people and AI. So we have learned to manage, but I think the most interesting change here is actually that every individual contributor, every employee is going to become a manager of AIs. And in that sense, they're all like, everyone is going to become kind of an entrepreneur. If you care about the output of things, then you're just happy that AI will allow you to have more output. The impact of jobs, of course, will be a different one, right? Because if it's in sales and you have twice the sales because you're twice as productive with your AI agents, you're just happy to make twice the sales. If in service you have twice the productivity or you have agents deflecting a bunch of cases, you might not need as much of your service staff. And so it's a really complex story of the whole impact.
Disruption take place within organizations and in industry with technologies like yours. At the same time, there's a genuine threat that all of this is going to lead to widespread job losses and perhaps even social collapse. Can you speak to that?
Well, this is why reskilling and staying ahead of this is paramount. We need to define what are the roles of the future. What are the things that people need to be doing as they work together with AI? How can we redeploy our talent? And again, I just go back to holding ourselves accountable to the decisions. We can go to the moon right now, but we can't sustain human life at scale on the moon. So we're not sending people at scale to the moon right now. It's maybe a weird analogy, but we need to hold ourselves accountable to, as we bring AI in, let's do it responsibly so that the humans can also adjust as we're working together with AI.
A little bit to zoom out, think about previous disruptions. 150 years ago, over 90% of people worked in agriculture. If you told those people there's going to be these agents called tractors that will take most of your jobs, they're like, oh, what else are we going to do? And now they want to be social media influencers. There's so many new roles that zero people were able to anticipate 150 years ago, right?
And so Google has led to more jobs, not less jobs.
Exactly. And so I think what will obviously happen is that we'll all work at much higher levels of abstraction, right? Instead of doing very small, medial, repetitive tasks, all of those will go away and we have to execute. I think
on the job piece is that agents are able to help us find talent, people talent in other places. Like, Nancy's company, MoonHub, is an incredible one where it helps you recruit. And if you want to hire people, you can hire them from all over the world and find people that you might not traditionally be looking for. And so that's something where for us to look at how can we put an agent to help us recruit better and bring in people that are from anywhere, from different walks of life, but have the skills that we need. I think this is an incredible agent for us to be using right now to bring people into the workforce from all over the world.
Going to a different economy. And we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box, provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important.
look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, well, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books, is time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.